Finally, back to the Gene Keys. So the reason I haven't the reason I haven't dove into any more of the Gene Keys since the last time I made a video on the 64th, which was from confusion through imagination to illumination, the Aurora. What I'm at now is the 63rd Gene Key, reaching the source. It's the shadow of doubt, the gift of inquiry, and the city of truth. Doubt. Basically, what I was filled with about going forward and posting this was doubt. And also, it's been just like plaguing me in my life recently. Doubt, which is fascinating. I haven't experienced doubt in almost a year now, like 8 or 9 months, just certain in everything. So it was very unusual and unexpected for me to experience doubt. It's also probably important to note I had read about half of the shadow of doubt and then put the book down. So I'm sure that just brought up like a ton of stuff inside of me that I hadn't even fully realized was in here. Just like the 64th, since they're programming partners, the physiology is the pineal gland. So let's see. The paradoxical power of doubt. The shadow of the 63rd Gene Key, doubt. The relationship between the 63rd and the 64th gifts is the relationship between logic and imagination, or, put another way, between your left brain and your right brain. Doubt is born when you lose touch with the wonder of imagination, and confusion comes about when you rely too heavily on logic. When you stop being able to imagine things, you start to doubt. But the more that you can imagine, the less you doubt, because it's like, well, if we're in the realm of imagination, anything's possible and you don't have to have doubts. The 63rd shadow of doubt represents a huge question mark, literally wired into the human brain. Your logical left brain, the 63rd shadow of doubt represents a huge question mark, literally wired into the human brain. The problem with doubt is that it does not go away. Doubt sits there deep within the neurocircuitry of every human brain, where it causes a huge unconscious pressure. We humans cannot easily accept this never-ending feeling of being unsettled somewhere deep inside. For most of us, the need for mental certainty results in our taking on a firm set of beliefs or values that provide a barrier against the doubt inside of our minds. Dogma. Doubt is the beginning and the end of the human journey. It leads to the gift of inquiry, which in turn leads to the discovery of the city of truth, the final answer to all doubt. The journey through the levels of the 63rd gift does not lead you in the direction you might expect. The final resolution of logic lies outside the domain of logic. In this sense, truth comes as an illumination from within, rather than an answer from without. Part of why meditation and contemplation on things like this is so important. Someone can explain to you that truth that is revealed, that ultimate illumination, and you can try to wrap your mental brain around it, but to fully embody the understanding of it is completely different. And it really is, it's another, it's almost like level of awakening. I don't know if there's levels or moments. Let's see. Our brains have evolved to try to find release from the inner pressure. But in a sense, we've been conned by nature because there is no answer to our doubt. At the same time, our attempts to end our mental anxiety have forced the brain to evolve even further. Because in order to end our doubt, end our anxiety, end those just feelings inside us that aren't totally lining up, that puts pressure on us to make new decisions, to invent new things, to find new ways of comfort, and that sparks an evolution inside of us. This is how our anxiety serves evolution. Yeah. The other important aspect about doubt is that although it's truly impersonal, we humans make it personal. If doubt serves genuine inquiry, then it becomes creative. But if it becomes personal or is internalized, it becomes destructive. So as long as you use your doubt to like fuel your imagination, it can be creative, it can be positive, it can be turned into something. Um, but if you internalize it and make that doubt personal instead of just general doubts about the universe and existence, and you think that it has to do specifically with you, then you become destructive. And sometimes an attempt to like fix that doubt is destructive instead of just accepting that the doubt's going to be there, it's going to remain there, but it doesn't have to be acted upon. It is self doubt that so undermines the individual from trusting in his or her own inherent creativity. Literally, why I don't paint all the time. Self doubt is a low frequency conditioning field that pressures all human beings to evolve to a higher life of service to the totality. Self doubt is a low frequency conditioning field that pressures all human beings to evolve to a higher frequency of service to the totality. Because the best way to get rid of your own self doubt is to serve others. There's no doubt when you're serving others and when you're doing that fully from the heart and you're not expecting anything in return. There's no doubt. It's not a transaction, You're not doing it because you need anything in return. You're not doing it because someone's asked you to go out of your way. When you are fully in service to others, there's no room for doubt. If the individual succumbs to the pressure of doubt, the other direction he or she can take at the shadow frequency is to repress it through dogma and opinion. When the logical mind is prevented from doubting, it also stops evolving. When we're not allowed to doubt things, when you're not allowed to question beliefs, when you're not allowed to question, the structures that uphold things and the dogma that maintains the religion. There's an author, I guess a religious author, Rob Bell, and at the beginning of one of his books, What is the Bible? I believe is the book. It's called What is the Bible? And let me see. He starts out as, instead of your religion being a wall built out of all of these bricks of dogma, like Mary being a virgin or Jesus being the only one, stuff like that. Whenever your religion is like, I was raised Catholic, so I only really know the most about like Christian and Catholic religions. But whenever you look at that like a brick wall that's holding up your foundation, you take one of those bricks out, your wall can crumble. Well, he compares it instead to a trampoline and the springs of a trampoline. So you've got a trampoline with all of these springs attached, and you take off a spring and you go, do I think Mary was actually a virgin? Maybe, maybe not. But taking that one spring off doesn't collapse the entire trampoline. There's still enough other springs around there holding it out. No, I mean, if you take enough of them off and they don't work for you, you don't put them back in, yeah, that trampoline might fall. But like, essentially it allows you to question things and to doubt things without being collapsed and crumbled by it. Let's see. Without doubt, so we had just said, when the logical mind is prevented from doubting, it also stops evolving. Without doubt, the logical mind is inherently unhealthy because it short circuits its own nature, which is to keep asking questions. The nature of the mind is to keep asking questions. When logic moves to the extreme periphery of what can be known, it meets paradox. The human logical mind is simply not designed to be certain of anything other than paradox. Which is so good, because we just live in such a like dualistic world where we think things are black and white, things are yes or no, things are good or bad. And whenever you try and find the truth in that, in any and every situation, you realize they're two sides of the same coin. There is no one truth. The truth is the whole. The truth is, it's both. It's all of it being there at once. The only thing our minds can really wrap themselves around is paradox. It is aligning the creative and the logical side and seeing both sides of it. And when you're certain of something that is not a paradox, what you're certain of is only part of the truth. It's not the whole truth. And being part of the truth, it becomes a lie. And whenever you want to like do the best that you can to solidify that truth that you believe, it becomes even more of a lie because you completely shut yourself off to being able to receive anything outside of what you believe to be true. In which case, doubt would actually help you evolve, because if you doubt yourself, you can at least let go of that stronghold long enough to hear out other sides, right? It's like part of what's so beautiful about coming into any situation without thinking that you know everything, or even if you know everything about it, just letting it go and going, you know what? Like, even though I have a degree in marine biology and I had a bunch of fish tanks and I know enough about, or a bunch about fish, this other person who's talking to me about their new fish tank might actually know something that I don't know because I haven't been involved in it in a while, or because it was just something I never learned. And if I came into that situation thinking, well, like, I've already been through all this and I know everything, then, like, first of all, I'm not even going to listen to them because I'm going to be just constantly correcting them in my brain if I do think they're wrong, or like comparing it to my own experiences. But also, they could teach me something and I could miss it because I think that I know everything and I'm not even open to hearing them know more than I do. And that's so important to just like not not be that way. Okay, the human logical mind is simply not designed to be certain of anything other than paradox. Anything less than paradox takes place within the shadow frequency and must therefore be logically false. Ah, yeah, it's like what I just said. Okay. The beauty of logic is that it is itself a great paradox. It seeks to end doubt but can never be satisfied in any single answer. The only satisfactory answer is one that defies logic. At the shadow frequency, all the human mind wants is certainty, and if it cannot find it, it will manufacture it. Anyone or anything that purports to bring an end to your uncertainty through external means is selling falsity. Your fear of uncertainty needs to be recognized and embraced, because the deeper you can embrace uncertainty, the closer you come to the transcendent. So I'm going to go back a sentence, or a couple, let's see. Yeah, just one. Anyone or anything that purports to bring an end to your uncertainty through external means is selling falsity. Anyone telling you that the answers to your problems, that the answers that you seek are outside of yourself, is selling you a lie. Every truth, every answer, every bit of wisdom is already deep inside of you. That's like so clear. Your fear of uncertainty, right? That desire to be certain that makes us so sure of ourselves and gets rid of our self-doubt. You can never be 100% certain of anything. There's like 9 billion other people on this planet with their own certainties. Like, are you going to line your certainties up against theirs and think that it wins? No. That doesn't exist. But if you're, just go within. Your fear of uncertainty needs to be recognized and embraced. Because the deeper you embrace the uncertainty, the closer you come to the transcendent. The deeper that you embrace the fact that you don't know anything, that you're not sure of anything on either side, the closer you are to opening yourself up to receiving actual truth, which is two-sided. So the repressive nature is self-doubt. When doubt is repressed, it plagues us as self-doubt. Self-doubt is based upon comparison and does us no harm as long as we simply observe it as a mental conditioning pattern. Self-doubt only becomes destructive when we identify with it and believe it's propaganda. Again, I found this person on YouTube the other day. He's like, becoming husband material or something like that. And he's like learning all of these skills and doing all of these things so that he can be husband material. And I put a comment on there one day and I actually said something about like, I hope that you can see it as instead of day blank of becoming husband material. If he could see it as day blank of realizing I'm husband material and proving it to myself, or like accepting that I'm husband material and proving it to myself. So it's like, when doubt is repressed, it plagues us as self-doubt. Well, if you can just accept that like everything It's not doubt. It's like, yeah, we might have some mistakes, but oh my goodness, but I'm just proving to myself that I can do this. I'm not proving to myself I'm it's like you're not starting from negative and trying to make your way up to zero so that you feel like you're at the starting line and can then like take on the challenge. You're already you're already there at that neutral point. Like there's it definitely sometimes feels like you have to crawl your way up from like a void in order to get to the place that everyone else is at. But like we all have a different starting point. So that base also that it's based on a falsity, like the starting point that people are starting out with anyways is based on dogma, it's based on structure, it's based on a system that doesn't work. Anyways, don't doubt yourself, or doubt your self-doubt. Instead of doubting yourself, doubt your self-doubt, doubt your doubt. Self-doubt is based on comparison and does us no harm as long as we simply observe it as a mental conditioning pattern. Self-doubt only becomes destructive when we identify with it and believe it's propaganda. I mean, it'll stop you from doing anything. It'll stop you from achieving your dreams. It'll stop you from trying to make a nice meal instead of just like a plain sandwich, I love sandwiches. You can make those nice too. But still, we have to give in to our fear and fix it at a certain frequency. When this happens, self-doubt eats away at us as anxiety. Unless our awareness disidentifies with these mental patterns, we enter a terrible world in which nothing we do or say is ever good enough. I spent like at least 6 years in that. Well, the beginning of it I didn't doubt. Yeah, I did. Wow. I've doubted myself for the last 29 years. A reactive nature, suspicion. When the 63rd shadow is expressed in its reactive mode, it is externally projected into the world and becomes suspicion. This kind of doubt is also ultimately rooted in self-doubt, but it's transformed into anger and taken out on others. Whenever we make our doubts personal, we embark on a wave of destruction that endlessly feeds back into itself. This is a classic biofeedback loop common in many relationships. It can be so easily avoided if individuals either own their own self-doubt or project it back into society in a creative, exploratory way. This is going to take a lot of actual contemplation, which I haven't done yet because I kind of just finished it and got right to it. But there's so much to pull from this. I think number one, I'd just say, doubt your doubt. Be suspicious of your doubt. If we're gonna take on these reactive and repressive natures, let's do them towards this. Be suspicious of our self-doubt. Doubt our suspicions. That's another good one. Be suspicious of your doubts and doubt your suspicions. I'm gonna leave that there. Contemplate on it. Probably once I get to the gift and the siddhi, I'll write some poetry. This one might turn into a poem too, but I need to sit with it for a while. So next will be the gift of inquiry. It says the ladder of self-inquiry, and after that will be the siddhi of truth. Truth is every step of the way. Oh, this is good. This is going to be good. So for now, I'm going to leave that there. I hope that, anyone who watches and listens to this, I hope that you take something from it, because there's always so much to take from this. I could go through it again and again and again. I have, and I will continue to do so. So thanks for being here. Yeah. I'm kind of just posting things that I'm interested in. I love the Gene Keys. I'm loving cards. I'm interested in astrology, so hopefully one day I'll learn more about that and get into that too. I love cooking and baking, so I've thought about doing that just because I've been like making my own recipes lately, and it's been so wonderful. Yesterday, my best friend and I, I made a stuffed pepper casserole while she went to get her scissors and then give me a little haircut, give me a trim. And then we made homemade pretzels and homemade chocolate chip cookies, like homemade soft pretzels, and chocolate chip cookies. Everything is so good. Today I'm making a homemade French loaf and beef stew, homemade beef stew, and I'm gonna take what's left of a bread of white loaf and turn that into French toast just to use it, and might make another white loaf because it's nice to have on hand. Life is so wonderful. I love plants. I rearranged my room again. Love to rearrange my room since my brain is all out here instead of just in here. It exists outside of me. So I don't know if it's going to stay just this, right? Getting into doubt. I don't know if my page is just going to be like cards and jinkies, because I'm interested in so much, and this page is really for me. I hope that other people can like gain something from it too if they pop on here, but like really it's embracing me and myself and what this life is in a self-confident way, not a selfish way, self-entitled way. No, just everything is life is so good, and I'm having so much fun, and even whenever it's difficult, I'm still like finding ways to fill my own cup, so that I can continue to pour into others, and just it's a beautiful life. And I listen to these videos myself because sometimes I need to hear, instead of talking so much because you love the sound of your own voice and you just like can't stand to hear anyone else. Now it's like, I actually have like wisdom coming out now. For the first time in my life, I want to hear my own wisdom instead of drowning it out with my own words. So yeah, these help me too. I'm gonna leave that there. Thank you for joining. Yeah, hope you got something out of it if you're still here. My puppy. Thanks.